Okay. So what comes next in project management? We did all our planning, we did our little game. We now know what planning entails. Now executing is all about what? Do you remember? Executing is all about going, getting it done. Very good. And communication and so on. So this goes back to some of the questions that were raised earlier by Trina when she asked, isn't it all about the characters, the people? So in this particular aspect of project management, it has to do with soft skills, a lot of soft skills, a lot of communication, a lot of management, a lot of great leadership. So let's take a few scenarios from a typical project. So in this project, if I could, Trina, take a look at your piece of paper here. So in this particular scenario we're about to play out, this particular scenario, we've got two characters. We've got a difficult stakeholder that's resistant to change, and we have a project manager trying to implement a project, trying to get a project rolling. So we've got a functional manager at a company, and we've got a project manager at the company. And this scenario deals with effectively managing stakeholder expectations. So before we get into it, I'll just read the first character. First character is a functional manager at the company, managing a team of 20. The company has chartered and initiated a project to create a deliverable. But this particular character isn't embracing the change. So that part is going to be played by Betty, right? You're the difficult stakeholder. And then we've got the project manager. And the project manager is on a demanding project, several cross-functional teams. This is a global project. There's a lot of pushback from functional managers, such as this stakeholder. So the project manager needs to effectively coordinate and kind of neutralize that resistance. So this is a quick 5-minute meeting with a difficult stakeholder. So I'm going to let you guys act it out. So get in character, think about the characters you're both playing, and we are going to observe. Now your role play is similar, right, to what we're talking about. But let's watch and let's learn and see what a good project manager should do. I've taken project management from just a theoretical, because it's very easy to get bogged down with the theoretical. But my philosophy is, teach me what I can use tomorrow. Teach me what I can hit the ground running with tomorrow and actually use. So I try to cut out I call it dregs and crud that people don't need, to give them what they really do need to hear about, which is pragmatic project management, which is what is project management all about. Yes, I'm going to take an exam. Yes, I'm going to get software. Yes, I'm going to get tools and techniques. But what is project management, and how can I really harness skills to get stuff done quicker, cheaper, in scope, more to my customer satisfaction, and so on. So what I've done is I've put together a wide array of materials, different options for people to use, CDs, DVDs, study guides, even comics, drama CDs, drama DVDs, to get people to see practical project management and to go beyond the tons of books, the tons of publications that are out there, because there are many publications, but very few of these publications cut to the chase and actually give you what is pragmatic, principled project management in action. It's very easy to get the principles and not be able to put them to action. My philosophy is all of the knowledge is good, and people often say knowledge is power. Well, knowledge is potential power. It's only power when it's put to use. So potential power versus real power, there's a difference. My goal is to take this knowledge, give it to people, and put them in the power seat where they can actually use it, not just talk about it, but actually put it into action. And if I can do that, then I have been successful.
I don't agree with this whole merger thing. My company is already going through a bunch of changes. I can't stretch my crew any farther. They're already going through enough. I want to slow this down and wait at least 2 months to have this get going. And my crew is already on a really tight schedule. I've got full-time, I've got part-time, and I've got contract workers. And if these guys have to work overtime, then we need to make sure it's in the budget, because I want to make sure the department doesn't have to pay for the overtime.
There's only so much budget and there's only so much time. So I don't know how I get extra money to pay somebody overtime when I have this budget, I have this time. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I don't feel it necessary for the department to have to pay the overtime. We need to find money in the budget somewhere so they can pay the overtime.
Find money.
So let's stop right there. Guys on this side of the table, what can you say about the project manager and the stakeholder? What could the project manager do differently?
Well, I think, yeah, a little more proactive in your responses, I think, and giving her more of the big picture of the challenges and the necessity to see this project through, because it's what gives her a job in the first place, future job. So you've got to share with her the bigger picture and the challenges there, and let her figure out the ways to make it work there too, because that's her responsibility.
Okay, so let's write down a few things. So we're talking about executing. So we need to give our stakeholders, as you put it, the big picture. How do we do that more effectively?
Well, we describe what that big picture is. We describe it.
Describe. Okay, what else? What else could help?
Communication and understanding of how the other person feels.
Very good. Communications and understanding. Excellent. Now we're going to move very quickly to our next scenario, which is going to be Shelley and Henry. So I want you guys to play out your roles as much as you can. Now, give us a quick synopsis of this scenario. Shelley, can you tell us what's happening here?
With both of us or with myself?
With both, yeah.
I have a stakeholder that has not been given very much information.
Okay.
So that leaves me in a bad spot. I need to address his concerns
Okay.
and make him happy,
Okay.
and win him
Okay.
to my company so that we can fulfill the deliverable.
Great, excellent. So I get the picture. You guys ready to go?
Yes.
Let's do it. We're in executing. Project manager, get into your role. Remember, be proactive, if you want to be. And let's get moving. Let's do it.
Are you there, Margaret? Hello? Hello? Are you there? Hello? Must have gotten the wrong number. Try this again. Margaret, are you there? Hate these international calls. Margaret, pick up, please. Okay? All right. Fine. You know what? If I can't get you that way, I'm going to have to text you. Now, I see from your response that you have absolutely no concern for me, for what I'm doing here, for the fact that I have a much bigger role in this company than you do, and yet you seem to think that I can just operate blindfolded without knowing anything about what's going on. I do not understand how you can continue to railroad me like this. I mean, you tried to fire the IT company that we already had in place. Then you took all of the language translation that we had no trouble with on the last company and decided that that wasn't part of your budget. Well, I'm sorry, but that is part of what we have to concern ourselves with. You're just leaving me in the dark, and I don't appreciate it. Do you have anything that you would like to say? Any explanation at all?
First of all, I would like to apologize for your being in this very uncomfortable situation.
Thank you.
And our company is well known. We produce the best quality product. And my hope is that you'd give us a chance to address your concerns.
Well, I have given you a chance. The fact is, I have given you many chances. And from here on out, if you wish to stay on this project, you're going to have to involve that IT team that you tried to fire in every single discussion we have.
Okay.
They're going to be involved. I'm going to be directly involved. I want status updates every single day. I want you to understand that this is not your project anymore. This is my project, and you're simply managing it. Are we clear?
Yes, you've made it quite clear.
Thank you.
And you've made some reasonable requests.
Thank you very much.
And in fact, we'll put that in process right away, and we'll get our schedule worked out so that it satisfies you.
Fine.
I want you to be a
As long as
happy
we're clear.
customer.
Well, we'll work on that aspect of it.
Awesome. I'm glad we had the meeting.
Well, give them a round of applause. That was quite good. So what can we glean from what happened or what didn't happen? Again, Betty, Trina, do you guys want to tell us what could have been done differently? Ideas, suggestions?
I would echo what I said before there too, is that she was acquiescing, she was very receptive to
Okay.
the challenges there. but there's still a level of responsibility that needs to be communicated about what the company needs to achieve.
Okay.
This guy's a very disgruntled employee stakeholder kind of scenario there, and it felt like that he didn't have a clear picture of what was going on.
Right.
It was more about complaining about what the problem was and really wasn't. And so project managers need to communicate solutions and then let them figure out those solutions with their responsibility. And that's part of the game, isn't it? Is
Right.
you got to deal
That's
with these people
what I was
that are
trying-
unhappy campers.
Yeah, to convey that.
Very good job. Excellent. One thing I could take away is the project manager was very sympathetic. And the moment the project manager came down to the level of the customer or the stakeholder kind of began to embrace the apology a little bit.
True.
And even said thank you for it, and kind of started trying to gravitate a little bit more towards the side of reason. So, great job. The big thing in many of these scenarios with the difficult stakeholders, we must try not to push the blame on them, because they just, that doesn't work. Okay, so we've got our final scenario, and it's going to be Bill and Tony, so let's go.
I just think that we're not ready to deal with the whole merger right now.
Well, I can tell you that this merger is going to bring some great benefits to you and the team and all of us here with the company in the future there too. This is going to, it's a very handsome looking acquisition here for us, and the projects that we're implementing right now, if we can work together as a team and figure out a plan to make this work there, the benefits, as I mentioned earlier, that will come down the pike there are financial as well for all of us. So this could be additional bonuses in the future for you and your team as well there. So we have to work together as a team and figure out a way to make this work. And I think that with the prior projects that we've done together in the past, the last 5 years, I think we've got enough experience and know-how to make this work. I think really it's going to be an issue of learning to better communicate with the contractors that we have, and I think that's kind of what the issue is. Is that a fair assessment?
I'd say so.
Okay. So can we set up a timeline where we'll get together in the next 2 weeks, and we'll set up some meetings, we'll do some roundtables, and from there we'll need to make some final decisions, because we are on a quote-unquote deadline to meet this acquisition and merger here within 30 days.
I'd like that very much.
All right, Tony, sounds like a plan. We'll do it. Thank you.
Great job. Well, give them a round of applause. So there's one thing I took away right off the bat. I don't know if anybody heard him mention a few keywords again and again and again. Who can tell me something they took away from what went on?
Bill kept repeating back what Tony was saying so that Tony could see that he was hearing what he was saying. He was trying to communicate with him.
Active listening.
Active listening, very good. So I'm going to put that here. There's also something I was getting from what Bill was saying, and it had more to do with getting the other person on your side, being able to show them the benefits of the project so that you're both on common ground. And he kept on repeating, we both stand to gain from this merger, you know, it will do a lot better for us and so on. So buy-in, this is a big one, right? If people can understand what they stand to gain, they'll buy in a lot more. Okay, so that concludes our simulation of executing, because executing is doing, but as we're doing, we need to relate with people. We need to get buy-in. We need to get that person who doesn't want to do the work, we need to get them to do the work and so on. Monitoring and controlling. Now I'm just going to show you very quickly what happens a lot in this area. What happens a lot in this area is people coming up with bright ideas to do one thing. And that one thing is make changes on the project. So we have some change request forms I'm going to give you. These change request forms, these just illustrate what typically happens on projects. So we've got actually this is your change log, and it just illustrates what happens when you need to make changes on a project. And that can be used to log change requests, okay? So if you can pass them around. Do you need one more? You might need an extra, okay. All right, so what do we see in our change request form? First of all changes on any project should be tracked with an ID. So So we've got an ID for the change number. We've got a change description. We've got who initiated the change, the date, the reason for the change, the impact of the change on the project, the required resolution date, and the approved, pending, or rejected. So that means, was the change found to be good? Have we implemented the change? Has it been rejected? Or is it accepted, rejected, or is it pending? So this is typically what the project manager uses to indicate the status of change requests. But there's another form that is used to actually make the change request. Okay, so that's another form that's in your folders. You could take a look at that when we're done. So in monitoring and controlling, we have so many changes that could come up. We either approve or reject. We have those 3 different actions we talked about: corrective action, preventive action, and defect repair. Between monitoring and controlling and executing, a lot of that happens, right? But the big thing is finally closing out the project. And that's really just the lessons learned, where you assess what you learned, what was good, what went well, what didn't go so well. So let me remind you, if you open up your book, your Project Management Essentials book, let me remind you what happens in these 2 areas. And we're in chapter 3. And on page 51. Okay? So page 51, we've talked about executing, right? That's executing the project. What we really focused on here was managing the project team and also managing stakeholder expectations on page 52. And then monitoring and controlling, it says, while the work is being executed according to the plan, this is on 52 and number 4. While the work is being executed according to the plan, the project manager and the team should monitor and control the work being accomplished. This could include the project team members checking the work to ensure accuracy. The project manager and the team should also review work results of other individuals. So that's that right here. And then finally, closing the project, I beg your pardon. This is the final stage in which we create our lessons learned, post-mortem analysis, and find out what our best practices are, which was a nice thing Shelley threw in there. So this would be our lessons learned, and we've got forms for that in your folders. Lessons learned or post-mortem analysis. All right, and that concludes our project simulation. You survived it. Wasn't that difficult, was it? So I hope you had fun. Thank you. All right, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the 9 dimensions of project management. Very briefly, okay? So let's take a quick 2-minute break, and I'll let you stretch your legs.